So, the decision has been made. Perhaps after months of conversation, or maybe due to a sudden change in circumstances, you've moved into your child's home. It is, in so many ways, an act of profound love. But let's be honest with one another for a moment. Once the boxes are unpacked and the new routine begins, another, more complicated feeling can start to creep in. Do you ever feel like a cherished, yet permanent, house guest? Do you find yourself tiptoeing around a kitchen that was once yours to command? While there is deep gratitude for the shelter and care, there can also be a quiet ache, a loss of autonomy, a feeling of being an observer in a life that moves around you. If you have felt this complex mix of being both loved and slightly out of place, please know this video was made specifically for you. We're not going to offer hollow platitudes. Instead, we are going to unlock 5 powerful and practical secrets to help you navigate this new chapter with grace, find joy in your new surroundings, and most importantly, maintain your unshakable dignity. But if you are truly honest with yourself, if you listen to the quietest whispers of your own heart, there is something else there too. A quiet, pervasive sense of displacement. A persistent feeling of being a cherished, yet perpetual, guest in a life that is not entirely your own. You find yourself moving through the day with a newfound, almost exhausting carefulness that you never had to practice before. You become acutely wary of being in the way, hyper-conscious of every cup you use, every light you forget to turn off, every opinion you keep to yourself. You have, in essence, given up a home, a lifetime of accumulated autonomy for a room. And while it was a decision undoubtedly made from a place of love and perhaps from stark necessity, it is a transition that can leave you feeling profoundly adrift, your hard-won dignity quietly and slowly eroding in a vast sea of good intentions. If this narrative sounds even remotely familiar, if you have ever felt this quiet, persistent ache of being both deeply loved and fundamentally out of place, I want you to know, with every fiber of my being, that what you are feeling is valid, it is real, and you are not, for one moment, alone in this complex and emotional journey. Today, we are not going to offer you simple, hollow, or patronizing advice. We are going to unlock the 5 powerful, actionable secrets to transforming this incredibly challenging life transition into an enriching and genuinely enjoyable experience, one where you can not only feel comfortable, but truly thrive with your precious dignity fully and beautifully intact. Before we embark on this deeply personal and critically important journey together, I would be so very grateful if you would consider a small, but meaningful, gesture of support for our work and for our ever-growing community of wise elders. If you believe this is a conversation that is worth having, a topic that needs to be brought into the light, please take a brief moment to press the like button and to subscribe to our channel. Your subscription ensures that you will never miss our guidance on navigating the complexities of aging with grace, strength, and unwavering dignity. And most importantly of all, I truly want to hear from you. The comments section of our channel has blossomed into a beautiful, safe garden of shared wisdom, empathy, and mutual support. If you are currently navigating this experience, or if you have in the past, please summon the courage to share your story, your personal challenges, or a piece of wisdom that you have learned along the way. Your voice, your unique experience, could be the very beacon of light that guides another person through their own moment of darkness and confusion. Your perspective is what gives this powerful community its heart and its soul. Let us now begin with the first, and perhaps the most foundational and transformative secret. It is a profound change in mindset that must occur before any other practical step can truly take root and flourish. The first secret is this: you must consciously and deliberately redefine your definition of home by creating a personal sanctuary. When you first move into your child's house, it is entirely natural to feel like an outsider, a gentle intruder in their well-established world. Their routines, their furniture arrangements, their specific way of organizing the kitchen pantry, it is all a constant, albeit unintentional, reminder that this space fundamentally belongs to them. If you allow this feeling of otherness to persist, you will forever exist in a state of being a visitor, a house guest, never truly allowing your soul to settle and find peace. The most powerful and immediate antidote to this feeling of displacement is to claim a small piece of that world as unequivocally and unapologetically your own. This is so much more than just having a bedroom. This is about the intentional, loving act of transforming that bedroom into a true sanctuary, a concentrated, tangible reflection of your life, your tastes, and your unique identity. This step is absolutely non-negotiable for your long-term mental and emotional well-being. It is the physical manifestation of your continued presence, your history, and your enduring importance in the family tapestry. You must take the time and, more importantly, give yourself the permission to make this space yours. This means thoughtfully bringing the small, cherished, and story-filled pieces of your former life into this new chapter. It means hanging your own familiar paintings or treasured family photographs on the walls, even if it means politely asking your child to put a few new nails in the wall. It means bringing your favorite, comfortable armchair, the one that has lovingly molded to your specific shape over countless years of reading, contemplation, and quiet moments. It means having your own bookshelf, proudly filled with your most beloved books, not just the few that could conveniently fit into a single moving box. It means setting up a small, dedicated desk for your letter writing, your daily crossword puzzles, or your cherished hobbies. This space should be the one place in the entire house where you do not have to ask for permission to be yourself, where things are arranged exactly as you like them, where your own energy can dominate. I once knew a wonderful woman named Clara, 82, who felt lost, faded, and practically invisible for the first few difficult months of living with her daughter. She had kept most of her precious belongings packed away in boxes, neatly stacked in the corner, not wanting to impose on her daughter's home. She ate her meals with the family, but would immediately retreat to her sterile, impersonal room and just sit on the edge of the bed, her spirit visibly shrinking with each passing day. We had a long conversation about this very concept. The following weekend, her loving daughter helped her unpack everything. Together, they hung cherished photos of her late husband, arranged her delicate collection of teacups on a small, elegant shelf, and draped her favorite, hand-stitched quilt over the bed. Clara told me later, with tears of relief welling in her eyes, the moment I could look around that room and see my own life looking back at me, I started to feel like I was home again. It wasn't my old home, of course, but it was a new home, and it was mine. Your sanctuary is your anchor in this new sea. It is the room where you can close the door and feel the comforting embrace of your own sovereignty. It is the physical, tangible space that reminds you, and just as importantly, everyone else in the house, that you are not just an elderly parent being cared for. You are a whole, complete person with a rich history of vibrant present and a future that still matters. Please do not ever underestimate the profound psychological power of this essential first step. The second powerful secret to navigating this new life is to consciously embrace a role of meaningful contribution, not indebted obligation. One of the deepest and most pervasive fears for a parent moving in with their child is the silent, gnawing fear of becoming a burden. This potent fear can cause two equally problematic and damaging reactions. Some parents, in an effort to prove their worth, overcompensate dramatically. They can turn into unpaid and often unappreciated housekeepers, constantly cleaning, tidying, and organizing, desperately trying to earn their keep. This path almost inevitably leads to physical exhaustion and a deep, simmering resentment as they begin to feel more like a servant in their child's home than a parent. On the other end of the spectrum, other parents retreat completely. They become afraid to touch anything for fear of doing it wrong, of breaking something, of being in the way. This withdrawal leads to a debilitating sense of uselessness, a further loss of purpose, and an accelerated erosion of their dignity. The true secret to a healthy dynamic lies in finding a balanced and beautiful middle path, one that is centered around the idea of meaningful contribution, not just the rote fulfillment of chores. Your intrinsic value in this household is not, and never will be, determined by how many dishes you can wash or how many floors you can sweep. Your true value lies in the immeasurable wealth of wisdom, experience, and the unique, irreplaceable gifts that only you can bring. I urge you to sit down with a notebook and thoughtfully consider what you genuinely enjoy doing and what would truly add value to the household's life. Perhaps you are a wonderful cook, renowned for your legendary lasagna or your deeply comforting chicken soup. You could propose the idea of making a special family dinner once or twice a week. This is not a daily chore. It is a celebrated family event, a gift of your unique talent that everyone in the family, young and old, can look forward to. Perhaps you are a gifted and patient gardener. Offering to tend to the houseplants or to cultivate a small herb garden in the backyard can bring immense beauty to the home and a deep sense of personal satisfaction to you. Your most important contribution might be less tangible, but no less important. You are the sacred keeper of the family's stories. Make it a point to share them. Gather your grandchildren around and tell them about what life was like when you were their age. Show them old, faded photographs and explain the history behind the faces. You are a living, breathing bridge to their own history, a connection to their roots that they can get from nowhere else. That is an invaluable contribution that only you can make. I vividly remember a gentleman named George, a 79-year-old retired carpenter who felt completely adrift and without purpose after moving in with his son's family. He would watch his son, who was not particularly handy, struggle with small household repairs. One weekend, his son was trying to fix a squeaky door and was growing increasingly frustrated. Finally, George, with his decades of accumulated knowledge, gently offered, "Son, a little bit of graphite powder in that hinge will fix that right up." In 5 minutes, the persistent squeak that had been annoying the family for months was gone. That single, small moment of shared expertise shifted everything. His son began asking for his advice on other small projects. George started teaching his young grandson how to properly build a birdhouse. He was no longer just an old man living in their house. He had become a source of wisdom, a teacher, a problem solver. He had found his new role. Look for these unique opportunities to contribute. The goal is to consciously and creatively carve out a niche for yourself where you are giving from your strengths, your passions, and your joys, not from a place of indebted obligation or fear. This is what preserves your dignity and powerfully reminds the entire family that your presence is a profound enrichment, not a burdensome responsibility. The third, and vitally important, secret for multi-generational harmony is to honor the sanctity of separate schedules. This is perhaps one of the most delicate and challenging balancing acts to perform in a shared household, and getting it right can be the absolute key to long-term peace and happiness. When you first move in together, it is incredibly easy for a web of unspoken expectations to build up on both sides. Your child, for instance, might carry a heavy sense of guilt if they aren't home to have dinner with you every single night. And you, in turn, might feel a sense of obligation to be present and engaged for every single family activity, even on evenings when you are feeling tired and would much prefer a quiet hour of reading in the peace of your own sanctuary. This dynamic, while born of love and good intentions, can quickly lead to a feeling of mutual suffocation for everyone involved. Your child's family needs to be able to live their own spontaneous and sometimes chaotic lives without the constant, nagging feeling that they are neglecting you. And you, just as importantly, need to be able to maintain your own sense of independence and your own personal rhythm, completely free from the social pressures and obligations of the bustling household. The secret to achieving this balance is surprisingly simple: open, gentle, and proactive communication about your respective schedules. This is not about asking for permission to live your life. It is about sharing information as respectful, cohabitating equals. Intentionally make it a normal and casual part of your daily conversation. For example, you can say brightly at breakfast, "Just so you all know, I'm planning on having a quiet evening in my room tonight to finish this wonderful book I'm reading." Or, My book club is meeting on Tuesday afternoon, so I'll be out for a few hours then. These simple, declarative statements are incredibly empowering. They clearly establish that you have your own rich life, your own interests, and your own plans. This, in turn, frees your children from the heavy emotional burden of feeling like they must be your constant entertainers or companions. It also gives them the freedom to make their own spontaneous plans without feeling a pang of guilt. They can decide to go out for a last-minute dinner with friends or have their own friends over, knowing that you have your own comfortable and enjoyable routine to look forward to. A wise woman I knew, Mary, who lived with her son and his very busy family of teenagers, had mastered this art. She would keep a small personal calendar on her dresser. Each Sunday, she would sit down with her daughter-in-law for a cup of tea, and they would briefly and informally go over the week ahead. "I have my weekly bridge game on Wednesday afternoon and a doctor's appointment on Friday morning," Mary would say. Her daughter-in-law would then share, "That's great, Mom. Just so you know, the kids have late soccer practice on Thursday, so that will probably be a pizza night for us." This simple 10-minute chat prevented countless misunderstandings and allowed everyone in the house to breathe and relax. It fostered a deep and abiding sense of mutual respect for one another's time and autonomy. Remember, living together in the same house does not mean you have to be joined at the hip. Consciously preserving your separate lives, your own sacred pockets of time and cherished solitude, is not in any way selfish. It is the very thing that will make your time together more joyful, more precious, and far less strained. It is the oxygen that keeps this delicate and beautiful relationship healthy and thriving. The fourth secret is one that a great many families avoid out of deep-seated discomfort, but it is absolutely essential for preserving your dignity, your peace of mind, and preventing long-term, unspoken resentment. You must master the art of the calm and practical financial conversation. Let us be refreshingly honest with one another. Talking about money is difficult in any context, but it is especially fraught with emotion and complexity when it comes to the arrangement of a parent living with an adult child. The unspoken and often overwhelming fear on your part is the fear of feeling like a financial burden. The unspoken fear on their part might be the very real financial strain of an extra mouth to feed, a higher electricity bill, a more expensive water bill. If this topic is left entirely unaddressed, if it is allowed to fester in the darkness of unspoken assumptions, it will almost certainly become a source of poison in your relationship. You may begin to feel a constant low-grade sense of guilt every time you eat their food or enjoy the warmth of their home. They, in turn, may begin to feel a slow-building, quiet resentment that they are too ashamed or too loving to ever express out loud. The only way to prevent this poison from seeping into the foundation of your relationship is to have an open, honest, and early conversation about financial contributions. It is crucial that this conversation is framed not as you paying rent to your child, but as establishing a fair and respectful dynamic of mutual respect and shared responsibility. You can gently and lovingly initiate this conversation by saying something like, "Now that I'm comfortably settled in, I'd really like to make sure I'm contributing to the household expenses. I know having me here naturally adds to the grocery bill and the utilities, and it's very important to my peace of mind that I feel I'm paying my own way. Let's sit down together and figure out a monthly amount that is fair and feels comfortable for both of us." The actual dollar amount you decide upon is often far less important than the symbolic act of contributing itself. Even a modest symbolic monthly contribution specifically earmarked for groceries or utilities can completely and positively transform the entire psychological dynamic of your living situation. It powerfully shifts your role from that of a dependent being cared for to that of a contributing adult member of the household. It is a potent affirmation of your ongoing independence and your unwavering self-respect. It non-verbally says, "I am not a burden, I am a partner in this loving arrangement." I have seen situations where this crucial conversation was avoided, and the results were truly heartbreaking. A father who would secretly and shamefully hand his daughter cash for groceries because he was too embarrassed to have a formal conversation about it. A daughter who was silently struggling to make her mortgage payments but was too proud to ask her mother, who was living with her, for any help with the bills. This kind of secrecy and shame creates deep, painful cracks in the very foundation of the relationship. Having this conversation, as awkward as it may feel for a few minutes, is a profound act of love and respect, both for yourself and for your child. It clears the air of all unspoken anxieties. It prevents future misunderstandings, and it allows everyone in the household to move forward with a shared sense of fairness, gratitude, and true peace of mind. And finally, we arrive at the fifth, and perhaps the most profound and challenging secret of all, the one that requires the daily, conscious practice of your accumulated life wisdom and your hard-won grace. You must learn to become the keeper of the peace, not the source of friction. When you live in close quarters with other human beings, no matter how deeply you love them, there will inevitably be friction. It is an unavoidable and fundamental fact of human nature. They will load the dishwasher in a way that makes no logical sense to you. They will leave their shoes by the front door when you've politely asked them a dozen times not to. Their taste in music might be too loud. Their political views might sharply differ from yours. Their modern parenting style might make you want to bite your tongue clean off. In your own home, you had the unquestioned authority to set the rules. In their home, you do not. And this, for someone who has been the head of their own household for 50 or 60 years, can be an incredibly difficult and humbling adjustment to make. The temptation to correct, to criticize, to offer a steady stream of unsolicited advice, or to simply grumble under your breath about these countless minor annoyances will be immense. But this is the very moment where your decades of life experience give you a superpower that your children have not yet developed. You have the profound wisdom to choose your battles. You have lived long enough and seen enough to know the critical difference between a minor, fleeting irritation and a genuine foundational problem that needs to be addressed. The true secret to a happy and harmonious multi-generational household is learning to consciously and gracefully let go of the small stuff. I knew a wonderful man, a retired military officer named Robert, who was accustomed to a life of impeccable precision and absolute order. He moved in with his daughter and her wonderfully creative and wonderfully messy family. The beautiful chaos of their daily life, with school projects on the dining table and shoes scattered everywhere, initially drove him to the brink of distraction. He found himself constantly tidying up behind them, his jaw perpetually tight with frustration. He was, as he later admitted, on the verge of creating a permanent and painful rift in their relationship. One afternoon, he had an epiphany. He told me, "I finally realized I had a simple choice. I could spend my remaining years being the unofficial house inspector, constantly pointing out their flaws and living in a state of irritation, or I could choose to be their loving grandfather, the one who brings them a sense of peace and unconditional love." I chose to be their grandfather. He learned to consciously close his eyes to the clutter in the living room and to focus instead on the glorious, infectious laughter of his grandchildren. He learned to retreat to his own tidy, peaceful sanctuary when he needed a sense of order and calm. He didn't surrender his personal standards. He simply made the wise and loving decision that his relationship with his family was infinitely more important than a perfectly organized home. This is not about becoming a silent doormat. If there is a genuine issue of disrespect or a serious problem that affects your well-being, it absolutely should be addressed calmly, directly, and respectfully. But for the 99% of daily irritations that are simply matters of different habits and lifestyles, the wisest and most dignified course of action is to master the art of the graceful release. Your unique and honored role as the elder in the home is to be a source of calm, stable, and loving energy. When you consciously choose peace over the petty need to be right about the small things, you give an incredible and lasting gift to your entire family and, most importantly, to yourself. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want to wholeheartedly encourage you to reflect on this new and challenging chapter of your life, not as an ending or a loss, but as a complex, nuanced, and beautiful new beginning. The decision to move in with your child is one of the most significant life transitions you will ever make, and it is a path that is inevitably paved with a rich and sometimes confusing mixture of profound love, deep gratitude, and undeniable challenges. It requires you to patiently and skillfully navigate the delicate, ever-shifting balance between your cherished independence and your new interdependence, between your past self and your present self. By intentionally creating your own personal sanctuary, you honor and preserve your unique identity. By finding meaningful ways to contribute your unique gifts, you maintain your vital sense of purpose. By honoring the separate rhythms and schedules of your lives, you foster a deep and lasting mutual respect. By addressing the topic of finances with clarity and courage, you preserve your unwavering dignity. And by consciously choosing peace over petty, day-to-day frustrations, you become the wise, loving, and stable center of your new home. This courageous transition is not about shrinking, fading away, or becoming less than you were. It is about adapting with a grace that only comes from a life fully lived. It is about showing those you love, and more importantly, showing yourself, that aging is not a process of losing yourself, but of becoming yourself more fully and more authentically. You have so much wisdom to share, so much love to give, and so much life left to live. And you deserve to live it not as a perpetual guest in someone else's life, but as a cherished, respected, and joyful member of the beautiful family you created. Thank you for walking this path with us today. Your courage and resilience are a true inspiration. Please, share your own journey in the comments below. Let us know what has helped you find comfort and dignity in this complex transition. And if you found this guidance to be helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with another parent who may be embarking on this very journey. We look forward to seeing you again.